Good afternoon. Welcome to Shadow Striker TV. Last time was interrupted because the battery ran out. But it's okay. I'm quite retarded with these electronic devices, etc. But I was handling the 2008 playlist of the period when I felt certain kind of shift from 3D to 5D, you could say. And last time I was maybe arguing a little bit these concepts. What does it mean 3D? And we experience more dimensions, whatever. But okay, now I have again listened to some mindfulness lectures which explain these shifts from 3D to 5D, and okay, I see in certain like spiritual how you say, some spiritual teachers have this kind of thematic they use, and this thematic is where this 3D and 5D is often used, and it's easier to comprehend using this thematic. Okay, so like yeah, not so important to go too much into detail of that 2008, the playlist, whatever. We can go back to it if I feel like it. Okay, as you can see, my engine is like a diesel engine that slowly gets moving, and then when it goes, it's steady. But one important thing is that to explain one great persona of Finnish culture in general, Vesku Loiri, Vesa-Matti Loiri. You know, Vesku is this kind of nickname they use for people named Vesa, or and Vesku Loiri, Vesku Noire. Pardon my French. Is like Les Légions Noires. So, like, what I want to say about that person is like outside Finland, nobody probably recognize or have much to say about Vesa-Matti Loiri. He passed away a few years ago, or shifted dimensions again, like from material plane to astral. And I have to say, I have to admit that I was very, very drunk. Often. So, my notes are like cryptic writings that I try to get a hold of. And as we're speaking, it's like coming to 12 o'clock in the day in the afternoon, and so far the morning there hasn't been construction noises, but just when I began, the drilling, the sawing began. So that's the way it is. Like there's never a perfect moment for anything. So okay, let's go. I will tell you something about Vesa-Matti Loiri, who is like a very important character. Like you could say he's like a sage. He made the promise of a bodhisattva to his guru. And he became known as this comedian, national comedian who is stumbling all the time. Then he faced some personal tragedies, and naturally through those unwanted events in life, unpredicted, is that a word? Well, now it is. Uncategorizable. Soon we'll get to football, but you can see the processor is filled with processes, and I try to get a hold of the red line because this guy was also like a multi-talent who was not only an actor, he was a great singer. Many can argue whether he was technically the best, but he had the consciousness, which I rate him high of, that when he expresses some texts, you can sense that his heart is open and he is not just blurring out words. So he was not actor, singer, sportsman, many things, but most of all he was he had already shifted from 3D to 5D probably in his childhood already. So he often shared his experience with UFO sightings and imaginary friends, and out-of-body experience, near-death experience. Yeah, he had this near-death experience as a result of a football injury. He's how you call the bone which goes, yeah, it's not the ankle but the ACL, no? Anyway, you get my point. The bone, säärilu we call it. Both of them were snapped into two when he was goalkeeping for HJK, and thus he was taken to hospital, heavily medicated in the bed. He faced this out-of-body experience, and he has often in interviews went through this experience that he was already by that time in his 20 somethings, um, uh, fed up with being this guy who is always running, and people are laughing, and wherever he goes it's like, hey lawyer, can you crack a joke for us, when his life is chaos, chaos, chaos magic. um, so yeah, he's a good example of this this Finnish mindset, like where you're able to heal your wounds, or observe your wounds through dark humor, and seeing that everything in this material plane is just temporary, so why worry too much? Um, and he often said, or I remember one interview where he said that it's important to remain with this childlike curiosity, where you are curious of the world, phenomena, everything in the world, and but without being childish, irresponsible. You can be a responsible adult and have this childlike curiosity, harmony with those. And now, hammer time. Um, yeah, so football, the English game. Little boys in the park, um, jumpers for goalposts, rush goalie, two in the back, three in the midfield, four in the front. One goes off to hospital with broken bones. Marvelous. So yeah, he faced um, near-death experience at hospital, and he was like, in this trance-like state, he faced his guru, clairvoyant Aino Kassinen, and he expressed this thing when he's in this kind of um, wall. He's lying on top of a wall where there on the other side is like the land is like level, the surface, and on the other side is steep hill down. And he realizes it that if I go this way, if I turn this way, I will only end up what ends up is being Vesamatti lawyer. And but what he asked himself in that moment is like, have you fulfilled your potential? And did you love enough? So that's when he just stood up from the hospital bed and ripped off the wires that were supporting his system, and he said, now I am cured. And I guess through that experience he started doing more versatile roles and started to do this musical journey where he is well, I the first album is called 4 plus 20. And I'm not gonna check it out, but one of the early albums, I think it's the second one, is called Vesku Noita, which is a word game. It's like Veskutik something, like little stories. But this noita word refers to a wizard, a witch. So, and you can see he was this kind of character. Ununu. Um, and Finnish language is a spoken tradition, verbal tradition, like the Kalevala. Maybe I touched it on the previous video, I'm not sure. But what I want to say is like we are the kind of nation or people that where the poem singing tradition has carried on through generations and generations, but the written language is quite juvenile, like 200 years old or something. But the spoken verbal tradition is age old. And bear with me, I'm doing the best I can. My thoughts get distracted by this noise. And through sound resonance, like sound resonance, nothing makes up for the person who is speaking out of own experience. If someday you would listen the same things from artificial intelligence, would you know the difference? Who knows? But what I'm trying to say is that it's hard to replicate when someone is speaking of own experience versus something learned in a university, learned from a book, something on the surface level. Hey, I know on a philosophical level so much about the chakra systems and the kundalini, fire serpent energy, etc. But it doesn't make up for real life experiences. And often when people share their mystical experience, there's always someone in the table who is like, oh, that's just mumbo jumbo, that's hocus pocus gibberish. And well, that's their fault. And I'm always a little bit like cautious when sharing something esoteric. There's, of course, this knowledge is widespread for anyone who has the patience to search, and so therefore no problem. But yeah, there's this like a narrated drama series, or kind of like a from Vesa-Matti Loiri, this life's journey in audio form in Yle Areena, so for Finns, go check it out. Or anybody who is living in Finland. Oh, it's in Finnish, so for those who not speak Finnish, don't understand, I'm a little bit touching on the surface level of this radio play. So the series is called Rakastitko Vesku? Did you love? Or someone is asking the main character, Vesku, did you love? That's the topic, and he often goes in these out-of-body experiences, altered states of consciousness. He experiences meeting his guru, etc. And And um, yeah, like there was I had one note I put to some shelf. I guess yeah, this one. I'm not sure like how long I will be able to do it because you can see already I'm getting annoyed, so it's not ideal. So what Vesa-Matti Loira had to bury his first wife, who died in a car accident, left her body, uh, I'd like to say, because soul is eternal. Um, and and their firstborn son is with Vesa-Matti Loiri there near the coffin, and Vesa-Matti Loiri recites in Finnish this little verse: Sielulle ei ole lepoa ennen kuin se lakkaa haluamasta. Again, these notes are actually like here and there. This was something he said after his son had died, meaning that there is no rest for the soul before the soul ceases to yearn. Now this isn't going in linear because those shell notes are here and there, and it doesn't help me concentrate when there is this pounding. Ah, yeah. So, going back to when he had to bury his first wife. Ooh. And when he found out about the passing of his wife, he went to the doctor. The doctor gave him medicine, and he had taken large quantity of pills with the idea of ending his life on this material plane. But the doctor had predicted this and gave him only mild medicine, so he came back from that altered state of floating somewhere. Then we go back to when he's at the funeral with his son. And this is what he recites there. On elon aika lyhyt kullakin, siis palkaamme lieskoin leimuvin. Tulessa kohotkaamme korkealle. Maa maahan jää, mut henki taivahalle. Translation. Life's time is short for each, so let us burn with blazing flames. Let us rise high in the fire. Earth will remain on earth, but the spirit goes back to heaven. Loiri said, The exciting thing in Leino's language is that it makes pain sound beautiful and disappointment sound powerful. And when he began to work with Leino, who is our national poet, when he started to work with Leino texts, he's promised to himself that I put into these songs that which I was unable to put into family life. And we are living in the Iron Age. And the only golden age we can experience is drunkenness. Okay, here's kind of two different things, but the way he recites Leino poems is um, very vibrant. He is expressing emotions. Um, he's dwelling in deep waters, and there's but that's beautiful in this context, and there's these abstract thoughts uh, always present there. Um, um, Mitä siitä, jos en minä saanutkaan, mitä toivoin mä elämältä, kun sain minä toiveet suuret vain, ja kaihojen kantelen hältä. Translation. So what if I didn't receive what I wished from life, as I did receive enormous wishes only, and a zither of longing? So I hope this zither word is the correct one. We have our national heritage instrument called kantele. And I'm doing the best I can, but this is getting on my nerves, and this is what makes the video so long. Like, you might think like, what if the intro that never finished was 2 hours 18 minutes, and the intro part 2 is for how long? That how long will the actual episodes be? Well, yeah. Aha. Yeah, I'm skipping out something. Coming back to football, yesterday Liverpool played FA Cup match against Barnsley, I think. Yeah, I didn't watch the whole game, but I saw some highlights. Whatever. But I like this Liverpool scarf. That is nice. You know, I've never been to that part of England, but for reasons I support Liverpool Football Club. Okay. The Scousers at the beach, the way many English people are when they travel the world. They are like, oh, we're doing the same things we would do in England, but the weather is better. But this this scarf is nice. You can see the liver bird is holding the devil horns like this. There is the inverted cross that is in flames. Um, Hail LFC, Hail Liverpool Football Club, and I have to end this soon because it's too that the flow is non-existent because of this. Um, Let me cite Australian artist. No, not ACDC. And why did you think about that raunchy band? Naughty, naughty. I'm speaking of Dannii Minogue, of course. She has so many songs that are absolute bangers. I'm so under pressure. Hmm. Actually, let's throw this away because last night I was again at karaoke and I did recite one Dannii song called um, I Begin to Wonder. Every day is a new day, different faces with no name, faces I've never, places I've never been before. I think that's how it goes. But yeah, I was singing this song which I have never sang before. And yeah, the bartender goes to this lady and she is like, hey, is that your drink? Like, yeah, yeah, this is mine. Why did you take it from that table? So, like, when I'm singing, my jacket is there at the table, and in front of that vacant seat, my pint is there, and somebody, lady in her 30s, I think, yeah, had taken it. And when the bartender goes to accuse her, hey, that isn't yours, and my view is that she did it on consciously. That's how they get away out of jail. That, oh, I'm this attractive young lady, I'm supposed to be offered, but she didn't even like come to say hello to me or anything. So I'm also like, I pretty much end the song, but it doesn't end with a flow. It's like this. Yeah, and again, you can see performing in karaoke is like kind of like waste of energy because nobody cares if you have some emotion you want to express through a song. People are drunk. They they're in their own head's bubble. So that's something I need to value in myself also, that I'm not going there every day. And I haven't been going. Uh, Whatever. But I could use this creative aspect, creative quality of mine in a different way. Part of it is this storytelling in YouTube. uh, Again, I kind of lost where I was going to, but yeah. Let me quote a Finnish rock and roll legend, Remu Aaltonen from Hurricanes. Hari Ganesh. Don't you know I can show you how? Lily took that old man's proud. She took him to a place called LSD. She took him to die. Baby, can't you see? Oh, Lily. Um, there's a famous live experience or recording from '74. I think it's Tavastia. Some say it's Stockholm, but I doubt. I think it's Tavastia, um, where Remu is like making a speech in between songs. Before this song, Hey Groupie, he's like, 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 welcome to the movies. Yeah, like, all right, back to the movies. The name is Hey Groupie. Then he mumbles something, something, baby. Fuck me, girls, and groupies, and boys. I'm not homo. Signs of the times. Last week, I've been mostly listening to Merzbow. That's the kind of beautiful piece of noise when you have to set counter attack on the neighbors who are making noise. Like now, lately, it's been like in the morning, it's this construction upstairs, and it usually ends around 4 o'clock. Then the downstairs large family come from work and school and whatever, and they scream and pound and run. The emotions that I get, they come, I have to deal with them, so they go. As I'd like to put out as much content as possible, there's very little time. The morning would be ideal. The day is moment of action, time of action. And the night time is something where most of the ideas manifest in my head. So I take little notes during the night. Okay, this is what I will deal. In the morning, um, circumstances are something you can't avoid. Work now and rest later. Rest now and work later on. Also interconnected with Kalevala and Bok family saga, etc. Vesa-Matti Loiri, who I was speaking about a lot. In this video, let me get back. He was also starring this uh, spectacle of a movie. It's 4 pieces in entirety. It's 281 minutes. There's four parts. This is a filmatization of our national epoch, Kalevala, Rauta-aika, the Iron Age. And Vesa-Matti Loiri is acting the role of Ilmari Nen, the ironsmith, or the sky forger also you could mention, because in his name is the air, the sky is Ilma, is air. So um, yeah, this is a magnificent opus. You know, it's available on DVD, and I think there is even, yeah, there is even subtitles in the DVD, and at the moment it's available to see in Yle Arena. Um, but this is a magnificent opus. Even though you would watch it without the subtitles, uh, it's that's not essential in it, because there is many kind of many scenes that have no dialogue. They are just these ooh, meditative scenes where the picture and the ambience, they create the mood, and mm, maybe I will dwell on it later on when I can concentrate better. Those things, yeah. Um, yeah. Um, um, I could also go to mention from my personal 2008 awakening, because it's interconnected with this everything Vesa-Matti Loiri did. Even those times, he had just put out one of the albums called, I think Inari album came out then, or Ivala. Let's say it's Inari, but anyway, there is this trilogy of albums he made in his late, that's not even the very late days, but later on in his career, you know, in those years. Um, he made this trilogy of modern generation Finnish songs that he wanted to make his versions of. So even in the radio narration, he the narrator who is speaking with the exact same voice as Loiri had. So it's interesting, but said that the vision to do this is like Johnny Cash made this American trilogy, that a legend uh, makes his versions when he's like passing the torch to the next generation, giving homage, tribute to the younger pioneers, or the next branch of poets, artists, artists in this country, and that he wants to say, okay, now you carry the torch, etc. So around those times, 2008, when my perception of reality began to find new forms, experiencing synchronicities, and being alone in nature, gazing the stars, and having the contact to inner unknown, you could say. Uh, I could hear the the thoughts when I was going through emotions and thoughts in my mind. I could often hear pieces of poetry, pieces of songs, of course. So Loiri played quite an important part then, and I even went to see his gig with a friend of mine, Kimi. We went to Ice Hall, Helsingin Jäähalli, to see this Christmas tour gig. I actually went to 3 gigs that tour, 2008 Christmas, because it was so enormous, the experience, that I kind of listened a lot of his songs and his interviews with his experiences of the paranormal, we could say. Um, so what I felt like after these kind of school shootings and personal turmoil with having suppressed my emotions, my way of thinking, and becoming to realize it's better to express what's inside, so I will relieve the tension around. I'm setting an example of a person who is introvert, someone who never finishes his intros. So therefore, from that spark, I also put up a blog called Veskunoita. Because I've been all for a long time I was known as Vesku. It's my name also. So maybe when people say Vesku this, Vesku that, the signal they are sending might be unclear to some level of field, because there was Vesku the Great, who had made a bodhisattva commitment, and he was so elevated. He was in this material plane, but he was in between two worlds, and operating on this material plane, but his thoughts, his visions were from the unknown. So I kind of had this feeling maybe I'm the chosen one, because I experience things others don't, and I have to explain it somehow. So from that blog you could see, oh, this guy wants to be a mystic, and yeah, like I could say so, like admit that it was part of it. Like because I was like 24 years old only then, and later on I can realize it could have been better to keep it to myself, maybe, and just maybe face to face, when you meet people you can discuss about these things. But what I didn't realize is that I'm not the only one who experiences these beyond daily consciousness experiences, that there's a group of people who dwell on the unconscious, and it's not my job to act as some kind of Luciferian Promethean character. But maybe the work, this is another story of another whole episode, but Perttu Häkkinen valonkantaja um, is some valonkantaja, the term like light carrier. So I think that is quite essential, you know, like when you look from that perspective, when you look at random people who come in your life and you you value you make them you look through this lens. Is this person a light carrier, or is that person just someone who is obeying his or her senses, like living only in this material and obeying only him or herself? Or does he have some bigger, larger than him or herself mission to enlighten the surrounding world? And I think what Perttu Häkkinen made this with Vesa Iitti, this book called Valonkantajat, like plural, the light carriers of the north. I think that's, well, this is the Finnish version. There is English version of this. Um, so here is very odd people from Finland, like Iorbok, for example, and Reima Saarinen, so on so forth, who who were labeled crazy by many, but Perttu Häkkinen wanted to put out stories, give voice to those who don't have a voice. And he was in our national television and radio, but we have Yle, which is our main radio station, or the company which also runs television. So he had a primetime show, Perttu Häkkinen podcast, where he went through quite esoteric subjects, and I have tried to explain to some non-Finnish speaking friends the importance of this guy, and a bit by bit. But I want to also keep the same, carry on the same mentality to give voice to those who don't have a voice. I'm not gonna speak alone forever, but now it's the kind of time for manifestation. So, and I needed to put an ending to this intro. So, bear with me. Perttu Häkkinen, light carrier. Even though we dwell in darkness, we can carry light. And yeah, that's about that. At the moment, I'm gonna cite one Norwegian artist or band. The band is called Green Carnation, and the guitarist Chort. This band is his mind's vision, product of his mind, one man's mind, because he faced personal trauma, lost his young child, and then he was part in the black metal scene, short. Then, of course, not quite naturally, he gave it up for quite some time, af- after this tragedy. But during this time, he was off from the scene. He started to write and compose, thus became Reincarnation. From a song called Crust to Dust from the album A Blessing in Disguise. Playing pieces of a lifelong play in which the starring actor makes the world go round inside his head. Then suddenly the act is ending, the lights are dimming, and the music's fading. So, pretty much, that's very touching, for me, through those years of silent sorrow. This was even before this 2008 awakening. I was listening to Reincarnation, kind of like, uh, long story, but something in it, in me resonated. So, yeah, that's very important band for me personally, and let's see, maybe this year I will go see them live. They are gonna play in Tampere in a quite uh, questionable, festival. Questionable in that way that they are mainly these kind of radio-friendly metal bands, which they kind of are as well. But their lyrics are so deep, meaningful for me personally. I want to see them, but I already know the people there are this kind of surface level metalheads that just the thought of it is a little bit heavy. Mm. So just the year has just shifted to 2026, but still we are living in the Chinese calendar year. We are still living in the year of the snake, and we are shifting towards the year of the horse, whatever that means. If wishes they were horses, then beggars they would ride. Let's see how it will manifest. But the year of the snake was, or still is, like, you can think about it, you can suffer in the loop or surrender to change. Like the snake uh, gives up the old skin, makes new skin underneath. There's continuous circle of death and rebirth in this one body. And the empath goes through several deaths in life. The empath's path is the hermit's path, they say, and truly so. But that's the ability when you decide that, or you make the notification that you can't cling on to everything, you can't just hoard everything. You have to give up, put the energies to motion. When something doesn't serve a function anymore, just give it up. um, because there's two kinds of people: those whose heart is open and those whose heart is closed. There is, in my view, there is no in between. Oh, my heart is a little bit open, a little bit closed. It's either or. Uh, and Um, yeah, I was speaking about the empath's path, and I will end this any minute now because as you can see, the thoughts, the energies are not flowing naturally, but needs to be done. So, like 2025 in review personally, with this thought, have I surrendered to change? Somewhat. Have I suffered in the loop? Somewhat. But I guess the most important thing is that I'm doing something that nurtures the soul. Putting the inner emotions into motion. Gathering stories. Well, that's the first part. Trying to create art every now and then. So it's always every day in life. It's like it's so easy to choose the known hell instead of the unknown heaven. The continuous battle. Okay, so I guess that's about it from now because I'm realizing I have to admit I was very, very drunk. Until next time, thank you very much. Namaste.